Hey everyone, and welcome to today's tech tip. For today, I thought we'd go over maybe one of the lesser known options, which is the Joist Selector. It's, of course, mainly for CEMCO and Clark Dietrich, but this uses their trade-ready joists, and it basically uses some preset filters so you can determine the size that you're going to need in the floor. So super simple tool. It runs through some filtering options and then it'll auto load in the families for you, adjust your spacing if you set that up, and they all come pre-punched. So let's go ahead and start off with the Clark Dietrich trade ready joists. And basically to run this tool, you grab your floor panel, you run the joist selector, and it will auto-populate with all of their joist options. So from the start, we do have a few that aren't applicable just based on the length that I have. So I can go ahead and show only those that are applicable. And on top of that, I can then go ahead and choose different loading options, different spacing and deflection options, and use these to filter out the sizes that I can use for this particular floor. So you do have the option to filter by designation, but I'm going to leave just everything selected. And then you have options to filter by dead load. I'll also filter by live load. For spacing, I'll go ahead and set this to 24 inches on center. And this will override whatever you have in your floor panel spacing. I just have the default template used right now, which is 16 inches on center. So my 24 inches will override that. Besides that, let's also turn on the deflection, total load, and live load deflections. And then it gives me a bunch of different options that I can choose for this floor. So the other thing as well that can be fairly handy is you could always organize kind of this table by designation. But what's probably the most handy is to organize it by your panel weight. So using this, I can kind of pick the lightest size for these particular loading conditions. And that's all there really is to the joist selector. Once I select the members that I want, I can say OK. It'll auto-regen my floor panel for me. It does load in the sizes as well, so you don't have to preload in any kind of families, and it just swaps out all of my regular joists, in this case with the Clark Dietrich trade ready ones. So last thing, the trade readies do come pre-punched, of course, like we can see here, and you'll see the actual punches in the individual joists themselves. But this does actually work with our edit tools. So you could always edit these punch outs. You can do it for singular members, but if you want to apply it to all of your joists, you can just go ahead and select those. I can edit the punch outs. And then it shows you all of the individual offsets. And what I can do in this case, you can change the individual offsets. You can manually manipulate them. If you don't want one punch out, you could always turn it off. But in this case, I just changed my first offset to 2 feet, and it went ahead and changed that first offset just for the first punch out. So super simple. You have the option for the Clark Dietrich. And if you did want to use CEMCO as well, it's exactly the same steps. Just, of course, with their catalogs instead. So that was it for today's tech tip. Quick one, but I hope some of you found this helpful. And thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day.